You're listening to the Play Therapy Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks, your source for centered and focused play therapy coaching.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brenna Hicks, the Kid Counselor. This is the Play Therapy Podcast, where you get a masterclass in child-centered play therapy and practical support and application for your work with children and their families. In today's episode, we are continuing with the control and safety themes and moving into the burying or drowning theme. And I want to quickly, before I dive into this, make a distinction because we referenced burying when we talked about permanence and constancy. So I want to unpack that just a little bit before we even move into the description of the burying or drowning theme, because that is very different. And so when we're talking about permanence and or constancy, that was the theme that we discussed earlier. That is specifically for the purpose of proving that it is still there. So hide and seek, putting something in the room and checking to see if it's there the next time, having you find things that they have buried. There is a means to an end with that. So yes, they sometimes bury gems or treasure chests or toys, or they hide them, but that is specifically for the constancy and permanence. So I want to make sure that's very clear, because in this case, the burying or drowning is a little bit different. So please be aware those have different roots and different intentions for the child. And so, as I mentioned in last episode, when we're thinking about these themes, we want to keep in mind these are control and safety themes. So when we see burying or drowning, it needs to be filtered through the lens of the control and safety and get to the intention that the child has when acting out this kind of theme. Okay, so now that that has been clarified, let's talk a little bit more about the burying and drowning. So basically what will happen is children will bury characters, toys, miniatures, something small under the sand if you have a sand tray in your room. I know not all of you do. Not all of you do sand work. So it is a little trickier to see the burying theme come out if you don't have sand, but children can still bury things under stuffed animals, under piles of Legos, under dress-up clothes that they wad up on the floor. So there are ways to bury things, even if there is no sand present in the room. And if there is water present, so for example, we have sinks in all of our playrooms, and kids can fill up buckets and containers and things like that. So if children have access to water, then sometimes they will play out the character drowning. Again, if you don't have water, it's a little bit trickier, but kids can still play out drowning even without water, just like they can play out burying without sand. So it's just about the child's need and their creativity. You know, one of the phrases is necessity is the mother of invention. So if you don't have sand and you don't have water, but you really want to bury or drown something, you can still figure that out in your play. So typically that's what you will see, is they are specifically burying or drowning small objects, characters, or miniatures. And there are some possible meanings that I'd like to go through with you. So specifically with drowning, there tends to be a greater sense of desperation and hopelessness a little bit in that kind of play theme. Drowning is a very helpless and hopeless type of scenario. And so there tends to be kind of a deeper emotional root that I've noticed when you have water and drowning play. But if we're talking about burying, sometimes it's solely just for the matter of something being a secret. Sometimes kids will bury things and it is specifically because it's a secret and they're the only ones that, that knows where it is. They're the only one that has the secret. And so they will hide things or bury them. And again, thinking about control and safety, that gives them ultimate power and control when they're the only one that has the secret knowledge. And sometimes kids will say things like, I'm the only one that knows where this is, or no one's ever going to be able to find this, and things like that. So sometimes that can cross over into the constancy and permanence, but in this case, it's specifically for the power and control and being the possessor of the secret. Another option in burying can be specifically for safety. So often when there's something really dangerous or really overwhelming or really emotional happening in the play, the main character and or the archetype, which we've talked about before, will hide under the sand, basically. So if there's a good versus bad theme, if there's a battle theme, if there's monsters coming in, if there's a sandstorm coming in, something pretty catastrophic, the character will basically get buried, but the goal is to hide. So if the character is hiding under the sand, it becomes a safety issue, and they're actually staying safe by dropping down under the sand. Another possibility for why a child will do burying or drowning play is if they bury or drown a character in the play that they have anger or aggression toward. So sometimes they'll do it toward the bad guy. Sometimes they'll do it to the figure that has all of the power. They'll do it to someone who has an emotional level of control over their character in the play. So anytime it's a power issue and there's anger and aggression toward that person, they will sometimes bury or drown them, and it's so that they no longer are under that person's control or power. And then my only other thought would be sometimes there is a mastery or empowerment type of theme if they are burying or drowning a dangerous character or figure. So it almost becomes the retribution and the redemption because the dangerous one or the scary one all of a sudden can't do anything anymore because it's been taken care of by drowning or burying. So that becomes an empowerment and mastery type of shift if it's specifically directed toward someone that you would consider menacing or dangerous or scary in any way. So that is the burying or drowning theme. And again, that is the second theme in the control and safety theme category. And we're going to be covering quite a few in this category. So we're going to be in this main category for several weeks in a row. And next week we'll be doing broken play. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you as always for spending time with me each week. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Play Therapy Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks. For more episodes and resources, please go to www.playtherapypodcast.com.